Hello, fellow readers and gamers! I am back with my continuing playthrough of the visual novel Everlasting Summer. In my last video, we were starting to collect ingredients for a cake that was meant to celebrate my heroic rescue of Shurik, and because I was the dude who actually risked my butt to save him, I got saddled with collecting all of the damn ingredients. So we went to see Shurik and Electronic at the clubhouse to get sugar, and now for some bizarre reason we have to get yeast and flour from the library and from the infirmary, which makes no sense to me why food items would be in those places, but hey, off we go. So I'm going to go to the library first. If every other place on the cake ingredient list made at least some sense to me, then flour from the library made none. I thought hard about who would put it in the library and why, but I couldn't find any sane explanation at all. Given Jenya's harsh nature, I'd better knock first. Open. Zhenya peered at me closely from behind her glasses. What do you want? Don't think anything weird, but I didn't want to look like an idiot and decided to explain things carefully. I need some flour. Olga Dmitrievna said that it's here. I understand that it sounds strange to keep the flour in the library, but I was sent to you. And it's needed for a cake to celebrate Shurik's rescue. Yes, I have the flour. What's so strange about it? Zhenya replied with surprise. At that second, I felt like I'd been hit on the head with a heavy weight and lost the ability to understand anything at all. Flour in the library? Sure, what's so strange about it? We're in Wonderland, I'm Alice. Now I'm gonna eat that magic mushroom and I'll be back home. Hey! Yeah? I was daydreaming. Wait here, I'll be right back. She disappeared behind the bookshelves while I folded my hands and started waiting. A moment later, the sound of a trap door groaning on its hinges reached me. Hey, you need some help? I inquired loudly. I'll deal with it, Zhenya barked out at me. She seems to be in the basement, so I'll have to wait a little. Okie dokie. A few minutes passed, but Zhenya still hadn't returned. I was starting to get worried when the door was suddenly flung open and Elisa came into the library. She looked surprised too, seeing me here. What are you doing here? Oh, is this like the first time we've seen her since the whole in the woods thing? I'm surprised she isn't trying to kill me right now. Am I not allowed to be here? I said rudely to her. Elisa was clearly a bit overwhelmed. What do I care? She snorted and headed to Zhenya's table. And why are you here then? Elisa measured me with her eyes carefully and almost opened the mouth to say something, but then seemed to change her mind and turned away, hiding her hands behind her back. Returning a book? I blurted the first thing off the top of my head. It's none of your business, she replied with a hint of hesitation. What book is it? Elisa was silent. Oh, come on, let me see it. I wonder what Miss High Voltage Keep Away reads. It's none of your business. Her voice was even less confident. Okay, I don't insist or anything. In fact, I was quite interested to find out what Elisa was reading. Moreover, I was quite amused to see a book in her hands. TV, movies, or a computer, if one were available here, all these things seemed to be much more appropriate entertainment for a girl like her. But she had a book instead. Try to snatch the book out of Elisa's hand. Stay on guard. Let's see what she's reading. My curiosity won. I struck at the right moment when Elisa was looking away from me and snatched the book. Ouch! She screamed. In the following second, her face took on such an expression that it made me question my decision. If I'm about to die, at least I will know what for. I held a copy of Gone with the Wind in my hands. That was the same book that Lena was reading that evening on a bench. I was so astonished that I completely forgot about my imminent death. Is it interesting? Yeah, Elisa answered without any enthusiasm, blushing. Okay then. I handed the book back to her. Elisa threw it on the table and left the library quickly without looking at me. So, human things aren't alien to her. In the end, she too is a girl. Whoa, what's that all about? After a quick review of everything that just happened, I concluded that there was actually nothing that strange. Finally, Shenya's deep groan rang out, reaching each and every corner of the library. Grab it! I passed by the bookshelves and beheld the perspiring librarian sitting near the trapdoor leading into the basement with a small sack next to her. Well, they might have some sort of a storehouse down there. Thanks. I took the sack and left the library. Thank goodness it wasn't too heavy, so I carried it down to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin without too much effort. Now we're off to the infirmary. Pioneer. I feel like I've visited the infirmary too often recently, but what can I do? That's how things pan out. I sighed and knocked on the door. Come in, the nurse said with a trace of a sing-song accent. Good afternoon. Olga Dmitrievna has sent me to get some, I hesitated slightly, yeast. Oh, that's so gross, dude. Ah, sure. She gave me a broad smile. It's just that I don't have any. Pioneer. How so? She said that, well, I had some, but now there's none left. I didn't even bother asking why she had it in the first place. Well, don't you worry. You can have some aspirin, for example. That could be of some use to me, actually. Where do I get it, then? I sighed. Take this. She opened the drawer and pulled out some kind of bottle. I took a closer look. It was Ostankenskol beer. What's the matter? Beer is also a fermented product. She gave me a deep gaze. Nobody will even notice. She had a point, but everything just looked so grotesque to me that I couldn't find anything to say. Are you sure? Absolutely. Okay, then. The bottle clearly wouldn't fit into the pocket of my shorts. Well, thanks, I mumbled shyly, leaving the infirmary. Well, beer certainly could replace yeast. Even my limited knowledge of chemistry and biology was enough to accept this. But generally, walking around with this bottle in my hands looked like a silly idea to me, so I decided to bring it to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin and hide it there. But I had to reach it somehow without anybody noticing the beer. I hid the bottle under my shirt. This is not going to go well. And everything would have been fine, but Slavia called out to me at the square. Actually, she sprang out from behind me so suddenly that I even gave a start. How's it going? What exactly? Your search for ingredients. Oh, so you know already. Yes, I do. Slavia smiled. It's going all right, I answered, trying not to give away my unrest. And what do you have there? She pointed at the bottle sticking out from under my shirt. This. She got me. It's nothing. I blushed with a silly giggle. It's time to go. I was almost running, leaving the square with the puzzled Slavia behind. It's great that she is one of those people who don't ask unnecessary questions. But there are people in this camp who like nothing better than to poke their noses into other people's business. Passing the pioneers' cabins, I stumbled upon Uliana. Is anybody surprised? What are you hiding there? She gave me one of her cheeky looks. I thought there was no point in denying anything, so I replied in a provocative manner, It's none of your business. I'm a cipher officer bearing a message to headquarters. That's certainly a big message. I was carrying the bottle at waist height, so I was slightly embarrassed. You want some help? I'll deal with it on my own. I walked past her confidently and proceeded on my way. To my surprise, she didn't say anything, nor try to pursue me. There was nobody at Olga Dmitrievna's cabin, so I successfully managed to stuff the bottle under my bed. Once I got outside, I sighed with relief. Really, I couldn't believe that I would ever worry that much about a single bottle of beer. Like I was back in high school. It's a good thing it's safe now. Even if somebody finds it, I'll claim that it's not mine. I could always think up of a suitable excuse for my enormous experience. Finally, it seems that everything had been collected. I took the handcart with sugar outside and put the sack with the flour in it, followed by the 2 baskets of strawberries that somehow fitted in between. And the beer was hidden under my shirt, just in case. The day was coming to its end, so I had to hurry, as cake itself will need some time to bake. Of course, I'd rather enjoy lying down, closing my eyes and getting a decent sleep, but I just couldn't let Olga Dmitrievna down. Oh, isn't that nice? Indeed, after all the trouble I'd gone to, I even felt personally responsible for the success of this event. Coming to the square, I stopped for a moment to catch my breath. It wasn't that the cart that was heavy. It ran smoothly without any noticeable effort required. It was just that any physical exertion caused pain to me now, both a physical and mental one. Oh. I sat down on the bench and closed my eyes for a moment. Nothing good can come of that. What's that? I didn't really give a damn who it was. Probably just a fellow pioneer girl taking an interest in an unfamiliar companion in distress. What are you talking about? I asked her tiredly. She didn't reply. Those are the ingredients for a cake. Do you like cakes? I don't know. What, you've never tried cake? I don't know. Obviously, the girl didn't get what I was talking about, but it didn't surprise me at that moment. I really wasn't interested in the conversation. I was so tired that I had zero intention of classifying external distractions and tagging them as either common or uncommon. I see. Come down to the canteen later and have a bite. Really? Yeah, really. And what are they made of? What? I asked indifferently. These. Cakes. Well, some flour, some sugar, various fillings. Now that's a strange question. Doesn't she know what cakes are made of? And you have it all here? Well, yeah, sort of. And sugar? And sugar. Could you lend me a little? What for? I thought it was over the top. So I opened my eyes, and what do I see? A sudden gust of wind made me grab the cart instinctively and open my eyes. However, nobody was there. Am I daydreaming? I noticed, though, that the sugar sack was untied, and a small heap of it had poured out. Could it be that she was scared by the wind and ran away? Having fixed the sack, I got up from the bench and continued on my challenging strawberry way. There wasn't a single person near the canteen. No wonder, dinner was still an hour away. I brought the handcart to the rear exit and handed the foodstuffs to the camp cook. She must have already been told what to do with them, as she gave me such an unpleasant look. I'm not sure how long it takes to bake a cake, but it seems she had to hurry. I just wanted to relax for the remaining time up until dinner. In short, I was so tired that I just sat on the steps and waited. And closed my eyes again, apparently. My eyes closed themselves. I guess I got so tired throughout the day that I didn't even notice how someone came up to me until they patted me on the shoulder. Hi! Miku was standing before me. Yeah, I didn't need a mirror to imagine the expression of skepticism and annoyance on my face. Oh, excuse me, I must have interrupted you. No problem, I was just sitting here. Ah, all right then, Miku beamed with a smile. I was just coming to dinner. I thought that it's time already, and then it appeared to me that it's too early, but I decided to check just in case. Maybe it's not me who's mistaken, but the clock is. Well, not the clock. Clocks can't be mistaken. It's just that I misread it. She seemed to be ultimately confused now and fell silent. It's still about a half an hour before dinner. Oh, that's great. Then I'll sit here and wait with you if you don't mind. Frankly speaking, I do mind. You know, I have some matters to attend to. I stood up quickly and left without saying goodbye, ignoring Miku as I always did, while she screamed something after me. Wow, total dick, eh? A minute later, I got to the square and sat on the bench with the firm intention of finding a quiet and safe place here to wait for dinner. I think that this is the first time in the last 4.5 days when I've felt like this. I wasn't just irritated because of some insignificant details, but indeed, I was really angry. I've completely stopped caring about where I am and why am I here. I don't care about how to get out either. What's driving me mad is that I always have to carry out some stupid task given by our camp leader, and it's always me who gets into stupid situations and sometimes even ends up looking like a clown. If all of this is some alien trick or a plot of the universal mind, they better consult with their psychiatrist. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fists. And most annoying thing is that everything that happens seems to happen by itself somehow. I'd be happier not having to carry around bags of sugar that weigh a ton, but I had no choice at all. I mean, any other option would lead to much worse consequences than a muscle strain or hurt pride. Who are you angry with? Oh, it's Uliana. Uliana was standing in front of me and smiled slyly. Nobody, really, I answered absently, but my fists gave me away. Just like that. Okay. It's up to you. You better tell me, why did you run around the camp the whole day with some kind of bags? I had to. I've replied reluctantly. I guess it was food. Maybe it was. Uliana was about to say something, but at that moment the bell rang, calling the pioneers for dinner. I sighed in relief and quickly headed to the canteen, leaving Uliana behind. Oh, I hope we can edit that out. Semyon, thank you very much. For what? The camp leader gave me a friendly smile. For the cake, of course. Ah, sure. It was at that exact moment that I understood the true meaning of the saying, keep your thanks to feed your cat. You didn't tell anybody. This ought to be a surprise. Yeah, that's my boy. And now off you go to dinner. Olga Dmitrievna waved her hand, pointing at the canteen. I stepped through the doorway slowly and started to look for a free place. It turned out there were plenty today, so I got the chance to eat all alone. There was fish with mashed potatoes for dinner. What misfortune once again. I'll be left half hungry. And didn't we have fish for lunch? Is it a fish-only day today? Having pushed my plate with the fried sea dweller away, I laid my head on my hands and closed my eyes. But soon somebody came up to the table. Hey, are you all right? I'm fine, I replied without changing my position. Just tired? Yeah, a little. That's bad. Slavia said it seriously. Of course. You remember that we are going for the hike after the dinner, don't you? Have you prepared everything? Huh? What? Where? I opened my eyes and lifted my head up instantly. Lena was standing by Slavia. The hike. She was surprised. Didn't you know? No. I put my head down on the table and covered it with my hands. If only I could sink into the ground right away. The girls remained silent. I was left alone with my thoughts for some time, and that was fine by me. Maybe I could have sat that way until the end of dinner time, but the strong voice of Olga Dmitrievna was heard from the opposite end of the canteen. Guys, to celebrate the miraculous rescue of our friend and comrade Shirk, we baked this cake for you all. Wouldn't it be funny if everyone got drunk somehow off the cake? I mean, I know when you cook with alcohol, it usually burns it off, but I'm just saying, that'd be pretty flippin' funny. I lifted my head idly and looked towards the camp leader, but couldn't see anything beyond the pioneers' backs. A second, just a second. And nothing about me. Nothing about me rescuing Shirk or gathering the ingredients for the cake, as if that's how it ought to be. Well, it would be wrong to expect anything else from our camp leader. Let's go, or we won't get our share, Slavia smiled. Let's go, Lena agreed. Yeah, sure. I got up reluctantly and tagged along behind the girls. As we approached the crowd of pioneers, Olga Dmitrievna was just putting the cake in the center of the table. And now... The camp leader wasn't able to finish as Uliana rushed out from the pioneer crowd and dived into the cake. Are you kidding me? Greedy little pig. She managed to nibble it a few times before she was pulled away. She was kicking and screaming. I stared blankly from the outside at all of this drama. Elisa smiling, Lena picking up some cream with her finger, all the furious pioneers around. I felt completely out of place here. I thought that if I closed my eyes now and opened them again, here I am, back to the safety of my apartment in front of a computer. So I do close my eyes, apparently. And no, I blinked but nothing changed. Only the noise and the confusion became sharper. Uliana, that's the limit. I just... Well, in fact, behaving like this is a bit over the top, even for her. Shurik broke into the conversation. Or is it a court-martial? Please, Olga Dmitrievna, since the cake is celebrating my return, it's no big deal. He hesitated. It doesn't matter. The camp leader turned to Uliana. And you. Today I'm going to punish you to the fullest extent, so you behave next time. Whatever. She snorted and turned back. You won't be going on the hike with us tonight. As if I wanted to. I was more than willing to switch places with Uliana and skip the hike instead of her, but who knew? If I had have guessed beforehand, I'd have been the first one to go berserk and smash the damn cake. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse. You have to get ready too. There'll be a lineup at the square in half an hour. I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seems that I failed. Don't be late. Uliana was sitting at the table when I approached her on my way to the exit. So why did you do it? She looked very upset, but she had a right to be so. I wanted to, Uliana replied abruptly. So, you're happy now? Of course I am. And you? Good luck with the hiking. She smiled mischievously, sprang up, and rushed out of the canteen. Well, a little bit of luck wouldn't hurt. Why do I get the feeling she did that on purpose to get dumped from the hike, and that there's something else going on? Walk and you shall reach is exactly this proverb that kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend that I'm sick, or to just skip it without a reason. The events of this day taught me submissiveness. Although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense to me. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes? I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyway, I forgot to ask whether it's going to be an overnight hike or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed the sweater that I had on me when I arrived at the camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga Dmitrievna had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling. If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up out of a sheer habit, like they were awaiting a silent command from the bronze Genda. And all this happening in the scarlet rays of the sunset. And there he is, waving his hand and screaming, "Attack!" as roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs charge into the battle against some ghostly enemy. But Olga Dmitrievna showed up and started to talk instead of Genda. It seems everybody is here. Great! I was so tired today that I couldn't even think about anything, so I ended up just listening to the camp leader. Now, today we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in the hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together. A whisper that ran through the pioneer crowd suggested that most probably this truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow, I thought so too. We'll walk in pairs. So, if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself yet, now's the right time to do so. Pioneers quickly caught on to the idea and started to match in pairs. It looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slavia was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga Dmitrievna. Lena was with Miku. Electronic was, of course, with Shurik. Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all. Semyon! The voice of the camp leader pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly. I see that you haven't found a partner. Seems like it. Then you'll join Zhenya. She is alone too. I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. So, it appears that I'm left with the prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with even if I was paid for. Although, we both seem to be in the same boat now. I slowly approached Zhenya. Well, I guess we'll be together. She looked up at me. Don't you ever think that I'm glad, said Zhenya seriously. Why on earth should you feel glad? I asked naively. Never mind. It would be much better if you'd just shut up. It couldn't get any better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I'm going to end it there as we head into the woods because I kind of think that something's going to happen in the woods. Maybe not, but we'll see. I still think that Ulyana's cooking something up. We'll see what happens in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Click the like button if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel so you can watch all of my future videos. Thank you very much for watching this one. I'll see you next time. Till then, bye-bye for now.